Hi, everybody. Welcome to Using Collection Analysis at the Public Library. Pretty straightforward today. That is what we're going to be doing. Talk about all of the different cool ways that you can use the Teaching Books Collection Analysis tools in your public libraries. So, what are the Missouri and Ohio Collection Analysis Initiatives? These initiatives from the state libraries of Ohio and Missouri were designed to bring ongoing professional development, like this webinar, to library staff all over both of those states. So whether that's public libraries, like we're talking about today, school libraries, academic libraries, wherever you're working with children's and young adult books, we want to help you affirm that those titles are meeting the community needs that you're trying to meet, so that you're getting to the point that you want to with whatever collections you're exploring. The first thing that I want to mention is that to get full access to everything I'm going to be showing you today, you do need to register for these initiatives. So I'm going to put a couple of links there in the chat. It's going to be teachingbooks.net/Ohio registration for Ohio, teachingbooks.net/Missouri registration for Missouri. You're going to fill out just a quick Google or Microsoft form, excuse me, and we'll send you a welcome email with instructions on how to get onto TeachingBooks. So if you have not registered yet, please do. If you have colleagues who you think would be interested, please feel free to share that registration with them as well. All right, so my name is Susanna Gilbert. I should have led with that, but I'm the project coordinator for both of these initiatives, among other things, which basically just means that I'm going to be your main point of contact for any questions that you have about how these tools work. So if you're running into trouble with something, or if you're just curious about how something works on TeachingBooks, you can always get a hold of me. help@teachingbooks.net is going to be the best email for that, easy to remember. But I'm happy to meet as well anytime you have questions. And I'm joined today by our amazing state library colleagues, and I will let them introduce themselves. Erin.
Hi, everybody. My name is Erin Kelsey, and I'm a library consultant at the State Library of Ohio, and been working on this initiative and spreading the word and helping people who have questions since 2022 when we launched. And we have almost 1,000 users, I think, Susanna. We're close. And really happy to share that we have users in all of our 88 counties, which was a goal of ours. And we're just happy that it has widespread use from all different kinds of libraries in the state. So excited you all are here and excited to be here.
Awesome. Yes, and you'll see Erin's contact information here as well. Please feel free to reach out to her, both of us together, whatever you want to do. And then if you're in Missouri, take it away, Katie.
Thanks, Susanna. Yes, I'm Katie. I'm the Youth Services Consultant at the Missouri State Library in Jeff City. I've been here since June of 2024, so this actually launched before I got here. So, but I've been working on it since I came on board, and just really trying to promote it to both public and school libraries because it has value in both those settings. But definitely here to answer any questions if you need to reach someone before reaching out to Susanna. We're set up a little bit differently than Ohio. I don't know how many users we have, but I know that this has a lot of value in looking at your collections, either a large set of your collection or a small set of your collection, and Susanna will kind of walk us through that today. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you both. All right, so today I'm going to give kind of a very quick overview of everything that we're going to be covering. So how this works. We're going to explore what these analysis reports look like on TeachingBooks, and then we're going to backtrack and take a look at how you create those lists. We're going to talk about how you can integrate these tools into existing collection routines, and then we'll talk very briefly about finding and evaluating new titles. We'll have some time for our Q&A. And then we will wrap it up and hope that you leave feeling equipped to use these tools at your library for whatever you would like. All right, so why these tools? They're effective, simple tools to examine your collections on a variety of scales, as Katie just mentioned. So whether you're looking at a really small handful of titles or a huge swath of your collection, these are very kind of adaptable to that. It offers you documentation of collection data, resources to evaluate, promote, and bring books to life once you have decided what you want to have in your collection, and then confidence that those titles are meeting the need that you need them to meet. And as we mentioned, support and training is available. So that is part of this initiative. Along with the tools and support materials, you get us as well. So we're happy to help however we can. All right. So collection analysis. You're going to start by picking any set of titles, as I just said. That might be a piece of a collection, a display, some titles you're considering for purchase, a recommended reading list, a list of titles you're sharing with a teacher that you're working with in your school district, any set of titles that you're highlighting for your community, essentially. I do recommend starting with something a little bit smaller. I think it's easier to get used to kind of the ins and outs of how it all works. If you're looking at, 10 to 30 titles rather than 100 to 300, but you can dive in however you would like. And then you're going to import them. So we'll go over this a little more in depth, but there are a variety of different ways to import them: scan, copy, paste, however you can get that info in. And then there you go. That's what it's going to look like. You immediately have a whole lot of information about the titles that you just imported. So what does that look like in practice? We are going to hop over to TeachingBooks. So TeachingBooks has two platforms. We have our school platform and our public library platform. This is the public library version that we're looking at today, the blue one. But you might be more familiar with TeachingBooks for Schools, which you can always get back and forth easily between the two. And the nice thing about what we're doing today is that it is going to be exactly the same on both platforms. So if you're here and you're in a school and I'm doing all of this on our public library site, don't worry, you're not learning anything that isn't going to be applicable to you as well. So that's a nice thing. All right, so excuse me, get all my things open here. To use the collection analysis tools, we do not want that Excel sheet yet. That's for later. We do need to be logged in. So you'll notice right now this is welcoming the Missouri Collection Analysis. And I want this to be saying welcome Susanna in the upper left corner there so that I know that I'm on my professional login. I have all of my lists saved. So I'm going to go to the 3-line toggle menu here and hit professional login. And then we will put in my Missouri email here. And there we go. Once you're registered for the initiative, you're going to be welcomed straight to this initiative landing page. So if you haven't joined us for a webinar yet this fall, you might notice that this page looks a little different. We've added some refreshed collection analysis support tools. So our new handbook, our quick start guide has been updated, and some of this language here. So shiny new things for you to work with. But if you are new to this, our handbook is going to be kind of a step-by-step guide. So this is a little bit longer. You get all of your slides walking you through how this works. I'm always a big fan of being able to, have something open and go side by side as I'm getting used to the tools. So that offers you the opportunity to do that. We've got the quick start guide, as I said. We've got a sample list analysis report if you want to play with one of those. Or you can dive in and just start creating a list. I will mention, sorry, backtracking one more time, you noticed that that said, welcome Missouri. This is the Missouri homepage. It's all going to be the same for Ohio as well. So we did Ohio last month, so it'll be Missouri this month. And again, it's all information. This is all going to be the same. So no need to worry about that. We're just going to create a sample list very quickly. And then we'll dive in a little bit into kind of more in-depth ways that you can do that. But for now, I'm just going to drop some ISBNs in here. The very quick version, we save. We're going to view our list. And what list might this be? So this could be a summer, you're getting ready for next summer already. Somehow we are at the point in the year where you're thinking ahead to summer reading. Even though swear it just ended. You might be working with a teacher and thinking about back to school and wanting to, you're working with a first grade class that's really excited about dinosaurs and you want to offer them a recommended reading list. You've got a themed story time or a program. You're partnering with your local museum to do a fun dinosaur program. You're just creating a display. There's a million different ways that we share books in our community at the public library. All of these different ways that we highlight titles, and all of them are great things to take a look at with the list analysis reports. So here we are on our list. We've got a whole bunch of options on the left here, but for right now, we're just going to look at this little list analysis report link. We've got our triangle. This is going to be available on any list on the site. So that might be a list you've created like this one, but it will also show up if you want to look at the teaching books list of every book that's ever won the Coretta Scott King. You can search that and you can run a list analysis report of that. If you want to look at a teaching books list of great books about cooking or some of our thematic stuff, you can also search for those and then run the same report. So that's always available to you. But here we go. What do we have in our list analysis report? We've got our at a glance. So we know we have 8 genres, 0 cultural experiences. These dinosaurs are not diverse. We've got a mix of fiction and nonfiction. We've got 50% award winners. We've got a publication year median that was a wildly long time ago now. And it looks like we've got a whole lot of picture books from that page count and word count average. So we're learning a ton already about what's included in this list. And then we can dive into the breakdowns. So here's our nice little pie charts of all of that. Here's our recency year published. And you can click into all of these. So if you're curious, you're saying, okay, which book on this list was published before Susanna was born? You can click on that, and it is Dinosaurs, Dinosaurs by Byron Barton. And you can just kind of keep digging into all of this, whatever's of interest to you. We've got our genre details. We've got our adventurous dinosaurs, our dinosaur biography, our dinosaur folklore, whatever this looks like. Curricular area details. And then what's not included, and in this case, that is all of our cultural experiences, which, again, it's dinosaurs. So that's the thing about all of this information, right, is none of it is intended to be a checklist. None of it is intended to be prescriptive. We're not saying that to have the perfect dinosaur reading list, you have to have every single one of these categories represented, and all of these cultural experiences, all of these genres, where is your dinosaur horror and your dinosaur sports and your dinosaur romance. It's okay if you don't have all of those, but also you're the person who knows what you want to see here, right? You're creating this list, you know what its goal is. This is just giving you a chance to get kind of the documentation of that, right? You're going to see it all laid out. And maybe you're looking at this and going, yeah, that's exactly what I thought I was going to see. But maybe there's something here that's surprising to you. What jumps out? What makes you go, oh, wow, I didn't realize, that we didn't have anything newer than 2021 on this list. That's something I might like to address. I want to make sure we have some newer titles here so we can drag that publication year median up. Or, maybe I really want to make sure, maybe there is a genre here that I really want to make sure we have more of. Or maybe I know, we want to make sure we have not just dinosaur science, but some, kind of fun dinosaur books. Whatever you're hoping to accomplish. This is just giving you the chance to have the numbers, all the facts and figures about what is included. I think it's really easy to fall into kind of thinking that we know we're putting these together, we know what we're doing, and we do. Absolutely you do. I was a public librarian before I was doing this, and I was really careful about what I was sharing with my community, but there were still times when I identified things I was missing, blind spots that I had, or things that I just oh, certainly I have things that are newer than 2021, but maybe not. Maybe it's time for a refresh. Okay, that was a whole lot of information very quickly. Now we're going to kind of backtrack a little bit and talk about some of the different ways that you can make lists. So much like there are many things you can look at with these lists, there are also many ways that you can create lists. And we're going to hop back to your reading lists here. You can go that way. You'll also see your collection analysis reports, but we'll get into that later. For right now, we're just going to start with creating a new list. Actually, if we go back to this page and we scroll down, you'll see there's the list we just created. Here's a whole bunch of lists from past webinars that we've done, if you're interested in those. I make too many lists in these. But we're going to create a new one for right now. One of the things that I do want to kind of talk about briefly before we dive into this is that the piece that we just looked at was 16 titles, right? So maybe that's a display list, maybe that's a recommended reading list you're giving to parents who brought their kiddos to your dinosaur program. And the ability to do that, I think, is one of the things that sets the Teaching Books tools apart from some of the other collection analysis or collection audit tools that are floating around out there, is that most of those are looking at your collections really, really macro view, right? They're looking at your whole collection, or all of your young adult titles, or whatever that looks like. But the Teaching Books ones allow you to kind of narrow in and make a big impact with a much smaller set of titles. And that, I think, allows you to have a significant impact on the collections of titles that you're sharing, no matter what role you're in the public library, right? So if you're not the person who purchases and weeds for your collections, you can still have collection-focused parts of your job where you can integrate this in. So whether that's you're hosting story times, or you're creating displays, or you're working with school communities, homeschool families in your community, whatever that looks like. So that's my little plug for taking a look at your small lists. But we're now going to talk a little bit about how you can take a look at some larger pieces of your collection. So right now this is going to be our graphic novels collection. And we're going to say that we are purchasing for our graphic novel collection, and we want to examine what we already have before we think about what we might need. And we're going to do that by uploading a CSV file. CSV file, there's going to be some information right here about how you need to format that. Many of your ILS systems will allow you to download a report of something like, here's all your graphic novels. And then usually you can edit that information to get it down to what you need in a CSV for Teaching Books. But if you are having any trouble with that at all, if that's something you're trying to do and you're having any issues whatsoever, or you just don't like spreadsheets and you don't even want to try, please reach out to me. I'm happy to meet. I'm happy to talk to you on the phone. You can email me your spreadsheet and I will try to figure out what's going on with it. I love a spreadsheet, so this is something I'm always happy to do. All right. But again, there are going to be some little tips here on what that needs to look like. And we're going to be our graphic novels all, and we're going to import. And because this is a larger chunk, this is not just 16 titles, it's going to tell me that my import has been queued for processing. We're going to hit continue, and it's going to give me a little status update here. It's going to tell me this was 233 titles. And then I'll get a confirmation email and I'll see an update on this page when it is done. But the reason I did that first is because we might have to wait a few minutes. So I'm going to show you some other options as well. Our other bulk import options include pasting a list of ISBNs. So if you don't want to mess around with the Excel file, but you've got all of your ISBNs, you can just copy paste those in here. Again, it's going to tell you how that needs to be formatted at the top of the box. Same thing for our titles and authors. It's going to tell you how it needs to be. You got to make sure that the right author and the right title line up nicely, but pretty easy to do. And of course, you can quick add. So we could simply search for a title, put in the crossover. It's going to pop up and give me some options here. And the crossover graphic novel is the one that I'm looking for. It does show up as the third, but if it didn't for some reason, I could add graphic, and there we go. And I'm going to do our little add to reading list. And we will save that. Or you can add by ISBN one at a time as well. Ooh, look at that. We'll refresh. And now we have 234 titles suddenly. Isn't that nice? So we're going to save that because we always want to save that. And then very quickly, you can also do quick add with ISBNs. So click into this box, you can just copy paste an ISBN in there. If you've got a barcode scanner, you can scan ISBNs if you're working on a computer that's attached to one. Go around, scan a shelf. Really nice, super easy. We'll add this one. If you don't have a barcode scanner or you're not working with a machine that has one for whatever reason, you've got ISBN search here as well. So you can click on this icon. It's going to connect to the camera on your device. So webcam, phone camera, tablet camera, whatever you've got. It'll ask you to allow your camera, but we're not going to do that right now because Zoom is using my camera. But you can hold the book up and scan the ISBN the same way. So again, depends on the size of the collection you're working with, depends on your comfort level with, barcode scanners and Excel files and all of that stuff, but hopefully there's a way that's going to work for everybody to get your titles onto a list. All right, now we've got our 235 titles. So we're going to view this and we're going to see what this report looks like with a larger list. But because I know that this is a list where I'm thinking about how I can modify it, right? So I'm thinking about purchasing more graphic novels. I'm going to want to know what graphic novels would have an impact on my existing collection. So instead of just going to view this list analysis report, I'm going to save it to my account. So we'll create a new report and wait a second for it to import. And there we go. So looks the same, but now this lives separately from that list. So we have the report as its own entity as well, which will become important shortly. But here we go. So 235 titles this time. We've got 13 genres, 12 cultural experiences, got some fiction, some nonfiction, 215 graphic novels. So we've got 20 things on our graphic novel list that claim to not be graphic novels, which I find intriguing. We might have to look into what those are. We've got a publication year median of 2017. Got a wide range of reading levels here. And then again, we can just explore these a little more closely. What do we have from 1894? The Jungle Book. And my assumption here is that the information that I had so the title author information that I had in that CSV file, matched with the regular Jungle Book on TeachingBooks. But what I wanted it to do was match with perhaps a graphic novel version of the Jungle Book. So you can find things like that. You can just go in and correct them. You can always edit that list. So good thing to know if you're especially if you're working with larger collections of titles, that stuff can be harder to catch. All right, I've got some cultural experience mix going on here. It will tell you how many titles we have in each one. If you have questions about how things are categorized on TeachingBooks, so our cultural experience classifications, even our genre classifications, you can always look at the classification definitions. Those are going to be linked here within the report. We'll tell you a little bit more context about how these are classified and who does that classification. But you can always reach out to me as well if you have questions. Got our genre details and our curricular areas. Math, 3 math. Ah, of course, secret coders. I should have guessed. All right, and then we have what's not included. So this is much shorter lists than we saw with our dinosaur list, obviously. But it's possible that there's something here that we want to make sure we have, right? Maybe we want to make sure we have, immigrant refugee. We have a big immigrant refugee community, and we want to make sure they have graphic novels that reflect that experience. Maybe we just want to make sure we have graphic novels that reflect that experience, no matter who is in our community reading. Same thing with the genres. Maybe there's something here that's particularly important to you. So how do we go about finding titles to fill those gaps? The first thing you can do is use these links. So these are all linked to collections on TeachingBooks. We can open up our immigrant and refugee collection. We've got a little over 1,100 books here, and then we can filter them. So we've got our filters on the left here. Maybe we have a particular grade level in mind, curricular area, genre. We do have a genre in mind. We want to make sure that these are graphic novels. So we're down to 56. We know that our publication year median was 2017, which is, not bad, but it's always worth adding new titles if we're thinking about adding titles. So we'll go past 3 years here. And then, we could look and see, maybe we want them to be award winners. Maybe we want a particular cultural experience to fill another gap. Maybe we want a particular grade level resource type. You can just kind of keep exploring. You can put filters on, take filters off, see what you get. But we're gonna just kind of stick with what we have here, and we're gonna add some titles to a reading list. So we can add a batch here. We could add all of the ones on this page, or we can just select a few and then add those to a list. And we're not gonna add them to our graphic novels list here. We're gonna create a new list. Oh, I can type. And we'll add that. We can edit that, we can view it, we can keep adding. You can add them one at a time here with the little add to reading list, or you can add lots. And we can just kind of keep going here. So we could select another one of these cultural experiences or genres. We could say, maybe we have something where we want a little bit more. We've got some, but we want some more of it. We could use our little identifying books tool within here. So we could just looked at this and then there we go. All right, so we want South Asian, maybe we want to grab our graphic novels from the start. We could pick a grade level or a curricular area and then search. And the really nice thing about that search tool is that it's going to weed out titles that you already have on that list. So you don't have to think about like, okay, what 235 titles did we already put on our original list? It's going to filter those out for you automatically. But then we could maybe we want to sort these. We want the newest ones first. Or maybe we want the ones that have won the most awards up at the top. See what we get. And then we'll add a few of these. And these will go on our graphic novels to purchase list. So if you can keep searching using this tool, you can go, apologies for this scroll, back up to the top here and go to our browse page and then see all collections. And this is all of those filters we were just looking at laid out as linked collections. So maybe instead of messing around with all of those filters, we want to just go in straight into our graphic novel collection and then filter from here. We've got quite a lot of titles. We're not going to have time to learn about all of those, but we can say we'll say we want some 2025 titles, and we want them to have some kind of cultural experience represented within them. So we can diversify a little bit, and that's going to give us a whole bunch of options here. We've got 65, but we could narrow down our grade level a little bit, or just kind of keep filtering and playing there. And we will add some of these.
While you're doing that, I just wanted to share, starting with the browse tool is probably my favorite way to like dive in, just library nerd, book nerd, just starting like super broad and then using the filters. And it's a good way to practice learning all the filters and seeing how you can, change the makeup of the results as you play around. I just love this as a reader's advisory tool as well. Just if you got somebody at your desk and they're looking for a graphic novel and they read XYZ, it's a good starting point.
Yeah, absolutely. Which leads me wonderfully into my next point, which is if you've got some titles on your graphic novels to purchase list and you want to know a little bit more about them before you decide if you want to keep them on your graphic novels to purchase list, you can explore a couple of different kinds of resources that we have available. So we're going to take a look at Parachute Kids here. And the primary one I want to highlight here is our book resumes. So these, I have got to stop saying that these are relatively new because they are not. We've had them for a while now, but I'm just still just so excited about them. Like to make sure people know. But you can click on this link. It's going to be available for any title on the site. And this is just going to be a whole bunch of information that might be useful to you in one place. So we've got grade level crosswalk pulled out from review sources, the TeachingBooks grade levels, the Lexile, all of our TeachingBooks classifications. In addition, we've got Library of Congress and BISAC subject headings. We've got full text professional reviews, my favorite thing in the world. So we pull from 7 or 8 different review sources. It's going to give you the whole thing. It's going to tell you which ones are starred reviews. And you don't have to fight your colleagues over the latest copy of Hornbook and end up reading it 6 months after it came out. You can just get the review right here. So I think that's always a nice thing. And you've just got them all in one place. This can be shared if you've got colleagues who need to see it as well. It'll also tell you all of the book awards and distinctions a title has been recognized with. It's going to tell you all of the state lists a title has ended up on. We can look at we call this a primary source statement. We call it a meet the author recording elsewhere, but we can hear from the author themselves about the book. There's just a whole lot of information. And again, you can print this full thing, 1-page summary. You can share it out with a link. And it's a great tool. It's a great tool for you if you're trying to choose books for something. It's a great tool to share if you get questions from your administration, your colleagues, families in your community who just want to know more about the titles you're picking and why you're picking them. This has a lot of that useful information in one place.
I was just going to share, I have a colleague here in Ohio who recently has to start providing more information about the books that they're going to book talk when a class comes to visit. And so she's been using the book resumes and just linking to each book that she's going to talk about. She sends that to the principal. And then if there's any questions or need to know more, he has all that or she has all that at her fingertips.
Absolutely. Put all the titles on a list, analyze the list to make sure you're not surprised about anything, and then share it with the book resumes so nobody else is surprised about anything. It's good. It's, we've got more information is never a bad thing, right? This is just collecting more information proactively, so you know what's in your collections and you're ready to show that to somebody. All right, some other resources. Again, we've got our Meet the Author recordings that you can get a little bit of a book talk directly from the author. So that's another great way to learn more about a title that you're considering for purchase. So we could go through and examine all of these, but we're going to say right now that we've decided that all 15 of these are great. They're exactly what we're looking for, and we want to add them to our graphic novel collection that we already have. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that save list analysis report link again. We're going to open this up, and instead of creating a new report, we're going to import this to our existing graphic novels report. We'll do that. And now I'm not sure why this is version 3 and not version 2, but such is life. I think probably I have a different graphic novels list floating around out there that's messing things up. But this is the titles that we already had plus the titles that we're considering adding. So before we've spent that money, before we've sent that list to whoever does our purchasing to get it approved or just done it ourselves, we can look at the impact that it would have on this collection if we did add those titles. So we can see how our percentages have changed here. We dragged our publication year median up a year. We've got a couple more cultural experiences represented. We can go through and examine. Oh yeah, look at all that. Some nice 2022 to 25 there. Got some new cultural experiences popping up here, but we've also got some more books and some of the ones we already had. I think we added at least one genre there. Our culture curricular area, and then we can look at our not included again. So we could always just keep going through, keep iterating, keep finding more titles we want to add, or maybe we're very, very happy with this here. We can share this report as well as the original report. We can go to our collection reports page, so that's linked here as well. And we could pick our 2 graphic novel reports and put them side by side. Take a look at what has changed here and what hasn't. Put all those percentages directly next to each other. Again, it's just more information that might be useful to have on hand for you.
Yeah, I think if you're in a supervisory role and you want to, have your staff tackle all the reading lists, this can be a way that they can show their work and the impact of it. That's just a way to keep track.
Absolutely. Here's all the books you shared in story time in 2024. Let's put it side by side with 2025 and see what's changed or what hasn't. Or yeah, let's take a look at our outer space display for this month, or our Hispanic Heritage Month display, and see if all of our Hispanic Heritage Month books are secretly from 2012. There's a whole lot of information that can be gained. And yeah, it's incredibly accessible to a variety of your staff members. So, I was in a role in the public library where collections was all that I was doing. So I was just like deep diving into these questions 100% of the time. But if touching collections is a tiny, tiny part of your job, this can still be really useful. Maybe, you're running a book club, or you're doing story time, or you're just finding titles to add to a display and you want to take a look at what's already there and explore how you can fill some gaps, there's a lot of ways to have an impact on the titles that you're sharing. All right, so we are going to hop very quickly back to our slides here. This chart is just for all you visual learners out there. It's kind of another way of looking at this process. So, you know, this is intended not to be a one-time project, right? We're not looking at one display or one list and saying, cool, that was interesting, and moving on. This is something that we hope is simple enough and adaptable enough, flexible enough that you can use it with what you're already doing. It can just be worked in over and over again as you're looking at different sets of titles as they pop up in your public library. So that's just kind of a little flow through that. This is our second of 4 fall webinars this series. We have one coming up in October on Holiday and Heritage Month displays. So me talking about your Hispanic Heritage Month display was a little teaser there. We'll talk about that more in depth as we're gearing up for the winter holidays. And then in November, we will get together and talk about picture books and early literacy and how we can use these tools on our books for our littlest patrons. So that should be fun too. You can learn more, Ohio training catalog, Missouri training catalog. But if you are registered for the initiative, you will also get reminder emails from me ahead of both of those. If you've got questions that pop up later today, next week, next month, the next year, please do reach out. If you're in Ohio, you've got me and Erin to reach out to. We can reach out to both, one or the other. If you've got questions about, you know, state level stuff, I recommend starting with Erin. If you're worried about your CSV file, I recommend starting with me. But if you're not sure, just email both of us and we'll happily answer your question together. Same goes for Missouri. We've got Katie's contact information for you again there, and me once again. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you are ready to go out and use these tools in your public library. Get very excited about your collections.